a lot going on.
Is it okay that I'm recording?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, thank you.
Um, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that like I definitely listened to your previous um interview with Brad Berlin and my brother. So I'm kind of like I feel like a little bit of what's going on, but yeah, a little nervous at the same time. But yeah, I'm excited to share and you know excited to see you and see how everything's going.
Yes, I mean, and that's the one thing. It is it's a not usual situation in that um, if people aren't in a position that they view themselves worthy of being interviewed, it's a very weird because then it's like, well, now I have to say things and come up with stuff, and you're like,
Yeah,
what? And really, that's why I don't like saying interviews. But I mean, it is an interview, but it's a conversation, it's a connection. It's just
yeah,
you know when I talk to people, yes, I'm technically I mean, when you have a conversation with anybody, if you really want to know the answer to anything you're asking, you're interviewing them.
hmm
So there's a negative
yeah,
connotation of because and I don't want to create anxiety around these, but it's that your acceptance of me and your immediate inclusion into your family and into your spiritual journey and into your gym and into your like connectiveness was so,
hmm
and when I say overwhelming, in a great way, it was like,
hmm
that's why I get excited, and that's why I'm all geeked, and that's why I'm like, ah, because it
yeah,
was so immediate and so authentic that, I mean, it does not hurt that you and your brother and Brad are all tall drinks of water and easy on the eyes. That doesn't hurt. Let's be honest. I mean, it's pretty easy. You're like,
yeah.
yeah, plus it's nice because you're all in great shape. So I can just be like,
Appreciate it.
look at all this. These guys are my friends. That's awesome. Obviously, I've got
hmm
something going for me. But I think a big part of why I wanted to connect with you as well is and I don't remember when we had the after the event and you were playing music and stuff. By the way, I love bass. I used to have bass. It was great.
I heard, yeah,
I had a
yeah.
beautiful Rosewood with gold pickups, and it basically looked like
Wow,
Jerry Garcia's old guitar. It was
man,
beautiful, but I sold
wow.
that so I could pay to go back to college. But that's okay.
There you
Um,
go.
and but and I couldn't remember if I said it to you or I think I said it to your brother, was that you know I was so touched by how great you guys sounded at a gym. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah,
I'm looking around now. I've played not a huge events, but I've played events. I've played different places. I've played in Detroit. I've played a couple gigs,
yeah,
and it didn't sound as good as from the inside of a gym. And I'm going, I've done
yeah.
CrossFit workout stuff here, and I couldn't hear what was going on. This is weird. And
hmm
so that's why when I said something about, have they thought of recording? Once again, it was kind of like, and I went, okay. Um,
Yeah,
but so that was, and for most people, I don't have an agenda. But when I saw you yesterday and the conversation came up, that was in my heart. That was like,
yeah.
okay, now I'm going to get into your business. Like, what are we doing? Because
hmm
what's so wonderful, I think what's so wonderful is when, um, Brad was telling me a little bit about your story and how, you going to regionals on the team and not Brad and all this cool stuff that what's awesome
hmm
is I don't know. So for me, it's interesting
Yeah,
because I don't have a lot of adult friends, pardon me, who I feel very connected with and know so little about, if that makes any sense. And so for me, it's kind of an insecure thing because I'm like, well, I'm going to be all up in his business because I just want to be around them. I just need to like get even closer with them because they are my people. They are the people that is what I want. So that's what I'm going to go for. And, you know, so basically I was hoping that you would just tell me what you're thinking, what's in your heart, and what, if that's something maybe you thought of pursuing, because just from an outside perspective, with very limited, I am not trying to overstate my exposure in the music industry since it was never really in the industry, but what you guys sounded like, and the joy and just sheer authenticity of fulfillment and serenity and peace while you guys were playing was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I can share some like a kind of a story in regards to that. Bass is something that kind of like where you came from with it. Is it something that I kind of dove into as a young man, going through college, or not through college. This was actually early on when I was in high school. Um, one of my hockey buddies was just like, "Hey, dude, like I play guitar, like you want to play bass, and we could play like some music together." And like from that, it kind of started me, you know, irked me to get like you know kind of a cheap setup kind of combo so I can like you know start playing and teaching myself. But basically starting the bass came up from just like having been prompted by one of my buddy's bands in high school. My brother actually ended up going on tour with a different band that our buddy Josh Maley was on. Our buddy. Anyway, long story with all that. Completely different direction, but I picked up the bass getting into kind of more of a really heavy metal band. Obviously, not singing anything, you know, real real happy and inspiring. It was very much like a screaming the whole song kind of a music.
Aggression metal.
Aggression metal, yeah, very progressive, but like very heavy. Something that was very intriguing to me. I was very much into metal music, still kind of am. I don't mind certain stuff, and I very much kind of just, you know, I appreciate to some level. But yeah, it was like a few years. I, you know, obviously pursued other things, sports, CrossFit, getting a college degree. Really just kind of pushed that aside, you know. My bass ended up collecting dust for I don't know how many years. My amp too, that was kind of like sub studio. I actually still have it. It became a cat toy for one of our cats then. You know, they like scratch the fuzzy stuff off the side, so I still have that. It still works though. Not until just now in this quarantine, after I've been playing bass again for about 3 or 4 months. But the whole story about this is basically to get to that. You know, something was calling me back to it. You know, I just something out of the blue. You know, kind of just was pulling me to like, hey, maybe you should pick that up again. Hey, you know, maybe you should try playing some worship music. Maybe you should look into figuring out how to portray your bass skills on learning how to play chord progressions in a particular way, and use this to blah, blah, blah. And then like after I made that choice to pull my thing out of the garage and set it up and turn it on and, you know, kind of like, it's one of those things like, you know, it's like you memorize certain songs for a particular reason, for a particular show, but like you can forget all that stuff, you know, in a month or whatever. So for me, it's just like there's certain things that I think you know God puts in your life to show you, and it might not necessarily be through the lens that you looked at it first. Is kind of what
huge.
He put it there for. So like now I look at things through a different lens, and just, you know, diving more into the Word has allowed me to kind of see that. You know, there's so much that we just pass quickly, that I think that just the lens that we look through it can obviously show us a different perspective. just like CrossFit and just like a lot of the things that we talk about, it's like, you know, I thought it was this thing, but until I stepped back and looked at it with a different mindset, or, you know, an open mindset, I can really see now why this is so much more important than just me. And this is so much more important than just the few folks that I think brought me to this. You know, like sometimes people can bring you to something and it's just to see something, or it's meant to go further. And like, you know, nobody brought me to the base. I mean, there were some hints and, hey, you should try this. Hey, you should do this. You know, and like, even that, like, I think I got a couple lessons with someone. But it was like, I didn't really learn that much by getting instructions from someone. It was like, dude, you just got to sit down and listen to this song and like figure it out. And here's the guidelines, but like, you kind of have to figure things out by yourself and trial and error, and you know, put yourself in those tough situations. But ultimately,
somewhat resemblance of life. Yeah,
somewhat of a resilience. You know, I mean, you have to, you know, continue to try and fail a lot, you know, to learn. But I really love it, man. I love music, and it's just been something that is very strong in my heart. And you know, whether it's managing, leading, but like, you know, I felt the push to kind of, you know, gather a group for our, you know, vessel thing, to kind of portray this idea of like giving something that you won't expect anything in return. But you know, if you feel like it's on your heart to play worship music at a awesome event, you know, I mean, I think that's something that I feel strong, a strong push to kind of take ownership of and responsibility towards, with people that have that same kind of ethos, I guess, towards just their gifts and things. Cause like, I know it is definitely a hard skill to learn, just like any skills we learn in this, you know, in this time today. But or I guess we can relate it to CrossFit. Like, any skill is, you know, worth doing. It's worth practicing a ton. But yeah, I love it. And I'm super grateful it's back in my life. I actually just had to figure out another option. My bass that I've had for years now had some electrical issues, so I'm kind of dealing with like figuring that out, and hopefully I can take it to someone and get it fixed and either resell it or whatever, because it just you know, electrical things over the years. But yeah, yeah, I really love it. Really love what it's kind of shown me again, and it's been through a different lens. It's been through a lens of hope, and I guess maturing to some degree, because I think it's, you know, I'm not getting paid to practice and be very good at bass. You know, I mean, there's certain things that like don't have money attached to it. Like, to me, like, there's not a whole bunch of money in being a great coach, unless you're an owner, or unless you're, you know, have something else. You know, and even this is the same thing that I had difficult time with going through college, is like, you know, I know this degree is going to be a gateway degree for me to get either more degrees, a master's, or more certifications in a direction that I love, you know, and have passions towards. It's just knowing what's kind of next has always been like a fear in a way. But after kind of you know, stepping really away from all these things that I had, you know, in my life that were just things and all rooted in the wrong reasons, I think it's just allowed me to kind of see that there's a bigger picture, and there's a consistency in daily life that speaks volumes, I think, to not just yourself, but and who you are, but like the people around you and how they can exponentially be strengthened by your strength. But it's really allowed me to learn that you know, the strength that people have is not just for them. You know, it's definitely for them to share with other people. That's why I love what Brad says. You know, he's someone that I can even go into some glimpses of some of our conversations, even through the regional thing. But, you know, he's definitely been a father figure in my life, and something that's kind of been a little bit of a gap has just been, you know, having a father figure that is going to say, like, you know, son, I'm proud of you, and son, I love you. And you know, I now know that my heavenly Father loves me so much, and everyone are his children, and he loves them so much. And I think people just need to hear that, you know, they're loved. um
Yeah.
Unbelievable thing, but especially from a father, you know. And most of the males that are, you know, people I've looked up to have kind of filled that role for me. Uh and he's definitely one of them. I know he has a really great story about his dad as well, and being a exceptional giver, um even beyond the things that was even necessary to give to people. I think it just goes miles of growth in people. But you know, Brad, I think is someone who's given a lot, not only to the community, but just like he's always thinking about other people first. And I think that's a very strong thing to have, especially in your character, because that joy is something that it does come from our heavenly Father. Like we can only seek that that true joy is when we're giving to other people. Um, you know, we can seek, you know, little joys and little pleasures of happiness here and there, temporarily, but I think the greatest joy comes from giving and surrendering, our own personal wants and needs for, you know, the needs of others. And um yeah, I think that statement is kind of stuck with me a little bit. And you know, it's rooted, I think, in the right stuff. And um but yeah, I'll never forget those moments when Brad, you know, we would sit down and talk about it, and you know how much passion he has in it and had in it, still does. And um, you know, it was a you or me choice, but I think at the end of the day, um, Brad made a decision that was so profound, I think, in both of our lives, that you know, something that we'll never forget. And you know, will, I think, give him joy um, for years to come. And um, it's been a moment of my life that I'll never forget. Um, and yeah, man, it's stuff like that that we can really tell stories about. Um, those stories that, you know, you can't just recreate that stuff. Like there obviously is never going to be a regionals. There's, you know, I read this morning that there's not going to be these competitions and things. It's like, you know, so much of that got erased. uh and now we're kind of put into a situation where we have to focus on the things that truly matter. um Health is one of them, you know. You know, I think our mental health more than anything. But um these are things that I think have already been written. Like, we know that our health is one of our priorities. Our relationship with God has to be one of our priorities if we really want to seek true joy in this life. And every day and every moment, He gives us this moment, you know. And like, I can't be, you know, I can't be more of an advocate of that. It's like, you know, we get so fearful and so anxious about things to come and things that, you know, already happened. But you know, all I can do is be in the now and be in right now. And what's something I can get done today, you know. And um, has really kind of opened my eyes in a new perspective, man. And it's been great. I think this quarantine thing is helping people. And I know it's tough, but you know, you got to sometimes get in that. You got to get wrapped in that cocoon to kind of um, get worked on. And then that blessing is gonna you know, make sense in your life, you know, because you worked on a little bit of something yourself. Because some things is just like, wow, like I can't expect myself to get that big of a blessing if I'm not even ready for it. If I can't even handle, you know, my everyday, I can't even work out once a day. Like, how am I supposed to expect myself to get this big of a blessing financially or a relationship with someone else? Like, how can I expect something to happen so soon when I need to actually, I need to go away into a cave and and talk with Jesus and talk with God and figure out, like, you know, not why this is happening, or, you know, but like what is it that I need to do right now? Like, what is it that that's in my power that I can seek to get better at or achieve, you know. And it takes a lot of, I think, courage to do that, but there's steps to it, and it's a process. So,
and I encourage, remember, I tell my daughter all the time, because a lot of times she gets, well, I'm scared. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to act while afraid.
yeah.
And you know, when I finally really truly accepted that, that was a huge, but once again, it's just like you said, the lens. It's how we view anything.
Yep.
People have a lens of CrossFit till they come into CrossFit, and then they're like,
Right.
oh wait. And it's that preconceived lens I had of Brad, you know, was, oh, you know, he's standoffish, and you know, he's all about himself and arrogant and this and that. And all of a sudden, you know, I went, well, that was wrong after 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, but the courage to put myself out there was what I needed to do, you know, and that's part of the reason why I was blessed, that having left the comfort zone of my gym, it was, you know what, let's go on a walkabout, basically. Let's go on a soul searching mission. Here we go. You know what? You always want to connect with people, reach out. Because I remember thinking, this is going to seem so strange. Hi, I'm a 46-year-old man, and I just want to reach out to you because I've kind of seen you and I've never talked to you.
Yeah.
And he was like, yep. And I went, oh, wait, what? Okay. Because in what I love is that it just reinvigorated the idea of how Brad put it yesterday, which was the active surrender. And okay, I'm done doing it my way. And his immediate response, now we can start, or now we can continue. Let's go, you know. And having the courage to say, all right, what is on the other side of my fear limitations? And so that's what I've taken from this quarantine. Now, I understand not, excuse me, I'm in a different situation than a lot of people, but like you said, mental health, physical health, all this stuff that's affecting people, it's because they're not able to escape them and themselves and what they really are. Not the idea that they think they are.
They're relying on something
false
else.
lens.
Right.
It's the real lens. It's, you know what? You don't spend time with your kids. You don't help them with schoolwork. You're not nice to your spouse. You know what I mean? Like, you don't make time for your friends. You don't. And instead of, that's why I hate when people say, I wish. And I try to stop saying that, because if I wish something, if I could just easily, well, not easily, but I could put work in to try to do that. So a lot of times I said, it would be wonderful if I was a virtuoso at the bass. But even I can't remember the guy. Why am I losing my mind? Primus, like the bass player from Primus, dude's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of that is natural, but he's worked at it. So do you know what I mean? But it's one of those, you know, kids who walk up to a piano and just play. And you're like, oh, you're 5 and I hate you because, but it's just like anything. People who walk into a CrossFit gym and you're like, oh, wait, did you just do a muscle up? That's fantastic. But I'm going to stick you in the face with a hot poker because it took me 3 years. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But my lens of, being storytelling and just getting to know people and then wanting to share that with other people, that's what I wanted to do. And something that both Victoria and your brother just said to me was, you know, great people make people around them great. And that hits home so much. That is all I've ever really, really wanted to do. Now, selfishly, ego, like I was telling Brad, ego-wise, I would like to be that person. I would like to be the face of everything and the mouth of everything. But it's funny because I played it over and over in my head yesterday when I said that. I went, well, why wouldn't I be able to get a lot of that stuff? And I realized because immediately the first thing I'm going to do if something I do goes great, I'm like, man, yeah, look at me. Look how good I am. And I'm like, woo woo, instead of when it's through other people. Like I've had 2 teens go to the CrossFit Games and stuff like that. Now this is going to be the second time for both, but I've not at one point said, look what I've done. Look how awesome of a coach I am. I've really been like, wow, I'm really, really proud of like the effort we've done and look how amazing they are, because I'm aware that
it's a we thing.
It is a we thing. And I've always been a we driven person. And like the fact of what I liked is about mentoring, and I was listening to Simon Sinek talk about mentors, because I always thought mentor is somebody who just tells you what to do. So I was like, yeah, I guess I need a mentor. I need a mentor. Mentors, you're just going to learn from each other. You're going to, you're going to push each other. So I'm sitting there going, oh man, that's why immediately when you guys reached out to me that day, I went, yep, let's go. Because I wasn't super comfortable to like, yeah, I'm going to go drive another 45 minutes, go work out with people who are way better shape than I am, even when I was at my best shape, and then go delve into the Bible, which I'm still not good at, and, be vulnerable because they already know each other and they're already friends. And I'm going to be like, instead, I was like, wow, that's a lot of me going on in that conversation. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. How about I just go in there? I'm like, yep. And it's one of those things, like, I'm still human. I'm still new enough in my recentering, or new enough in my getting back to being comfortable with me, where I'm available and I'll start talking. And then all of a sudden I'll think, well, was that weird to say? Well, and I still kind of question it and everything, but then I realized, because I remember specifically thinking, wow, I just started talking right away in the first Bible study, and like just started giving my opinion. I went, should I be giving my opinion? And I went, but it's my opinion, and it's also part of how I connect with people. So probably yes. And I went, okay. But it is. And I love the fact that, and I feel honored, like when your brother said, about your dad's situation, everything, and kind of looking up to me and as an older adult male, and I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like so honored, and I was like, I'm gonna put a fucking tie on. I'm gonna do it. I'm like today. I'm like, okay, I'm coming equipped. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be like, yep. Okay, I'm good. I'm a, and then I went, okay.
I'm a father.
Yeah, but because to me,
I'm a professional.
I'm a professional father figure. There we go. But that is so.
There we go.
So that touched me so much that he said that. And it's, and then of course, because I'm still human, I go, oh, well, what is that? What do I have to do? How do I have to approach? Oh man, how do I approach Kyle's conversation? Now it's stressful instead of just exciting. And I went, okay, now I can breathe, like calm down. You know what I mean? And so it's when I base my lens off my points of view. Now, one of my favorite sayings in AA that I heard was, if life looks like shit, take your head out of your ass. And I was like, oh, I relate with that. Because, an alcoholic is a megalomaniac with an inferiority complex. So all day long, all we think about is the person that we hate the most in the world. And so we're like, shocking that things don't go well and we don't treat people nicely. And, and what I love too is me reaching out to you and your brother, having no understanding or no knowledge of anything about your past, especially your dad or anything really. And then to hear that, I'm like, that's God's long game. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's hysterical. And to me, to be able to just connect with, amazing people by So by me living my life and trying to stay sober and trying to be a better dad, trying to be a better me and trying to be a better coach and a better human and a better everything every day, that's, you know, like you said, those small consistencies daily for 29 and a half years has given me some sort of, even if it was, even like I
You
told you,
started revealing yourself.
yeah, even if we never talk again, you at least have an understanding of, you know what, somebody who struggles with alcoholism can change, can be amazing, can be loving,
Yeah.
can be proud of you, can be whatever it is, even if I'm the only example or I'm a better example or whatever, like I'm an example of
Yeah.
the possibility to be a good dad, which maybe helps you when you're a dad to be a good dad and all this stuff. Like, oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
so
man.
much more than my limited thought. And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. That's exactly kind of the same thing that Brad and Brad Berlin and I kind of had a conversation about, because he and I had some deep conversations around that time, you know, and some things that he's pursued in his life just due to the wisdom that his father's kind of instilled in him. And, you know, for me to say that to his face and be like, hey man, like, I know that your dad said this to you, but I want you to know that the things you say to me right now are things that I will never forget, because you're like a father to me. I don't have a father that told me this and told me that, you know. I have a I have a particular um you know, there's things that my dad has, you know, he's done things for me that have allowed me to see the fun, to see the joy and some things that you can do together with people, that I
which
still
is big.
practice to this,
Yeah.
which is huge. Like, there's no doubt, like, I am super grateful for that. I'm super grateful for the things, the ups and downs in his life that, you know, has allowed me to learn things that maybe some people don't learn until they're 40, 50 years old, you know. And I'm super grateful for those things. But um, just like our relationship with God, it's like it's a consistent, you have to have consistency in those relationships in order to get something from it, or in order to fulfill to fulfill your deepest needs. Because, you know, it wasn't my earthly father that put these things into me, that, I mean, yes, I carry all his genetics. I carry all my mom's, you know, genetics, and I choose to express which of those genetics um that I choose to, based on my habits and and who I am. But at the end of the day, God has predestined me and has created me before I was even born on this earth. So he knows exactly the things that I'm going to want and need, and the things that that are already pre-positioned and staged in my life, so that when they show up, they're just opportunities for me to see the truth. And, you know, the more I've you know, surrendered my life and surrendered the things that I thought were just my desires, because it's me. I got to have this great plan. I got to have this. I have to execute this great plan. I got to do what the world says to do, and get a job right out of college and make over 60 grand, and then move out right away because I'm so smart, intelligent, and financially driven. And now I have, explore these different things of sales and trying to create a living around the amount of money in my pocketbook. But, you know, it's like, it leads to a lot of things that I think show you and it wasn't even what you were going after. It's like, I learned so much about saving money that I don't even, I think I need to know more about how to save it and how to steward my money than actually make it. Like, I don't even need to make money. I need to learn how to steward my money. Because if I'm not starting to do that now at 28, what's that going to look like at 48? You know, I could have the greatest job, but if I'm not storing it the right way, then, like, what's the money worth? You know, if I only make a little bit of money and I'm storing it the wrong way, of course I'm going to be in debt. Of course I'm never going to move out, you know? And I think those are some of the wisdom notes that I'm taking from just kind of like surrendering my earthly desires, and, you know, find more appreciation for the compound effect of the consistencies that lie just within our own hearts. I think that when your heart's in the right place, I think it's only going to glow through your voice. It's only going to glow through your eyes and your hands and your feet and what you do. So, I've dwelled in that place for some time now in this quarantine because, I don't have any place else to run than to him. Um, you know, our Heavenly Father has so much more for us, and sometimes we tend to skip over those things that He's already done, and um, we need to see those things, but we also need to see what's to come and position ourselves. And something that my brother says, it's like you have to be in the right posture to kind of accept and be willing to, you know, be willing to stand, when things are hard or mentally tough, and not fall back into those old ways, and, not falling in this typhoon of fear, and, saying things out of fear. And it's just it's a cycle, man. It's a consistent cycle, but to remove that, man, you have to create a new cycle with the truth, and um sometimes the truth does hurt, but I think that's just like you said, like it's admitting sometimes that there is a consistent issue, to like be able to remove that, and come out on the other side with we, and like, this is not about me, and um there's so much more out there when I could help others, or just be available for others, you know in all this mess. Like, yeah, like I love the desire for strength. I love lifting. I love training, and how much it gets the best of us. And on the other side of it, it releases something in us that it can't be artificially created. Or you end up throwing up over in the corner. Like, your body releases something, good or bad. It's fighting the bad stuff in you, and it's releasing the good stuff in you. So, like, I don't know what other good thing there is for you that's holistic, and not, it's not going to hurt you. Yeah, if you do things the wrong way, they'll definitely hurt you. But I think that takes a particular mindset of not being aware that there's so many different levels and places to start on this journey. And um, all of it is I think is just accepting where you are right now in this moment. And a lot of people, I think that's the biggest struggle, is accepting where you are right now in this moment.
So if you could do what you desire, because you're literally shaking because you're wanting to get your point across. Like, I'm watching you go Rain Man on me, because you're like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, it's here, and you're wanting it to come out. If you could do whatever it is that this is, what do you think that would look like?
I don't even know what it's going to look like, or where. I continually keep asking, and people continue to keep asking me, and sometimes it kind of puts me in a place of frustration, because I don't have the answers that God has. And as good as my relationship, or as better as my relationship has gotten from starting, to just listen and know who He is. And I just think that it's allowed me just more peace. And I know patience and waiting and things like that are things that we deem as like, you need to just do it now, and I agree. I think there is things that we can do right now to get things moving in a particular direction. And just kind of going back a little bit before this whole quarantine thing hit, I was definitely there. I think I've never really seen a rock bottom place in my life, but 28 years in, I myself decided to quit my job, full-time car salesman. In addition to leaving my job, that I kind of moved my way up in retail. So it was retail sales to automotive sales. So just kind of like, basically just like emptying my tank every single day, on things that didn't even give me joy. And, you know, I kind of just, I forged and created idea of thinking that what I was doing was how people viewed me. My career was who I am. The amount of money I make was the caliber of girls that I would be going after, because if I'm making 50K, I'm going to be able to take a girl maybe once in a while. Like, I'm not going to be able to take you on these glorious, glamorous dates and buy a house and save money and get you what you want and, you know, make them happy, provide needs for, you know, someone that I considered, you know, or just anybody who I deem or who I pursue. But like, even then, it's like God had to slow me down so much to the point where, like, I actually don't know what love is. What is that? Like, I don't think I know really what unconditional love is. You know, and trying to seek that in people and trying to crave that out of people, you know, and it's really asking a lot. I think it's putting a big thing on others, you know, that you're asking that love from, you know, like, what is that true love? Maybe they might not even know, but you're putting pressure on them to know what that is. And do things that are, you know, out of their control. I just think that there's different things that we can learn along the way, and I think that's one thing that I've learned in this process of kind of letting certain things go. And I've been so appreciative that there's been many people that I've built in contacts over the years that have reached out, and ironically, they've all asked me if I would consider sales work going forward. Nothing bad on sales. It's just I just really struggle with it. I can't seem to be something I'm not. And then I also can't convince people to buy something that I can't deem is worth their money. So it's like really hard. Like,
Yep.
I could be a salesman on something that I love and I'm super passionate about, like, say, CrossFit, for example. But like, when it comes to, like, you need to spend another $100 a month to buy a car that's only 2 years older than your car, but it has these awesome extra features. It's like, I could tell you all those great things, but
it's not your why. It won't work.
I mean, right. And I mean, that's just kind of like, I'm just trying to give you a kind of a stage that I've kind of was forging my life around. And I know that's just not what God wants for me, to be stressed and anxious every single day to fulfill a destiny that I don't even deem to be something that is for me. And it took so much strength.
Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to cut you off just for a second. So I just saw you had a pen for a second.
Yeah.
Do you have something to write with?
Yeah.
Okay. So all I want you to write, because we can continue this, but I just want you to, for me, well, it's for you, but whatever, for me, I'll be selfish. I don't mind. I like this. What is it I want to sell? Just write that down. I don't know why. Just write that down. What is it I want to sell? Or what is it that I will sell? That's even a better question. What is it I will sell? Because people my whole life said, oh, you'll be a great salesman. I worked at Bally Total Fitness and Powerhouse. Oh, I hated it. I got fired from Bally's because, I mean, I used to sit there and say, listen, you're going to pay $30 a month for 2 years, no matter whether you come in or not. Because, and that's why, you know, when I was at the gym, it was hard for me to do sales in that if people come in, you know, our price point was actually higher than all the gyms around us. And I understand the difference now. I'm even more understanding the difference of value, but it's something as simple as Grey Goose. I think it was Grey Goose's model. They didn't come up with the alcohol that it is. They just decided, you know what, we're going to make the price point so high that rich people are going to go, wait, what's that? I think I need that. And it's the same with why people make mega yachts. It's the same reason. But guess what? If what you are willing to sell, because what you've told me is exactly how I feel. Exactly. That's the reason why I can sell other people. Does that make sense? That's why this is my jam. I don't know how to freaking monetize it yet. I would love to be able to be like, oh no, this is what we're going to do. I'm not there yet. But this is it. It's so easy for me to see people's potential and to see people's impact. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say amazingness, but impact.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there listening to you, and I'm having an external conversation with a tall, bearded version of what I think in my head. So I'm going, that's weird, because your passion comes through. I don't know what it is. Well, I know a big part of what it is it's that you're readjusting what your lens is. Your lens was for so long, like, this is what an adult is. This is what a successful adult is. This is what I want to be. I want to be a successful adult. And then you kind of stop and for me, whether it was whatever reason it was for you, mine was, oh, I guess I'm not going to the gym that I thought was going to be my destiny, and realizing, well, was I really 100% doing what I know God has put in my heart? Well, the answer is no, because now I didn't necessarily just say no. I went, well, I'm helping people. Here's my roundabout way of saying I was, even though I know I wasn't. Yeah. And so I want you to, I don't want you to come up with that answer now. I think what you and I should do is literally, like, at least, if not weekly, maybe once or twice a week. I know it's bi-weekly, I think, but I always get confused if that's every 2 weeks or what. But do check-ins, just check-ins. And because you didn't have a reassuring, short, high-pitched unicorn father figure to tell you to bounce things off of, which you do now. You're welcome. It's that. Yeah. I think. Thanks. You're still trying to search, but you're searching from your limitation. So you're searching from down here in your fears and your inadequacies but yet the reason why it's a struggle is because this up here, because this up here is all God stuff. Everything up here is God stuff. This is all human stuff. Fear, lack of, not being good enough, all those negative things are self-made. All the stuff up here are God's promises. This is active surrendering, right? This is our will. Well, I want the stuff up here, but I'm only going to do the stuff for down here. Well, I'm just going to say it. Yeah, dumbass, then you're not going to get this. Like, it's not like, I want to get to the end of the street, but I'm not going to walk outside. Well, I'm not the smartest person, but that's not going to work. And it's kind of like somebody saying, well, what's working out going to do for me? Because I'm already out of shape. But this, that's a false premise. Like, the journey of 1,000 miles, as cliche as it is, starts with a single step. And so part of that step, I think, is because all I hear you and your brother talk, and a lot of stuff I hear is all the limitations and all the reasons why you're not going to be successful, and all the fears and all the stuff that I'm in what I feel very blessed way, a couple months farther down the line of not being in those fears, being above those limitations. Now, because it's uncomfortable up here, because it's not where I've been for so long. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm reaching out to people. I'm connecting to people. As soon as I got done talking to your brother, I was so fulfilled. As soon as I, got and then today I was like, 12 o'clock's going to come soon. And so, yes, it would be wonderful if I could figure out right this very second how to monetize this. Is that really the important part right now? No. Is it really necessary right this second? No. So, but guess what? That whole faith is this. The I
Yeah,
need money
yeah.
right now, I need the answers right now is down here, and it's my stuff. So for you, like, you've already told me one of the things that you love and that you felt called to was the bass. Get back on that. You reached out to
Yeah.
people and said, "Hey, who wants to jam?" And all of a sudden you had amazing sounding, wonderful, more than two people in his name gathered making music.
Yeah.
Everybody else was around going, "Oh, I wish I could do that." And you're like,
Yeah.
"Ha, bitches, you don't wish you could, because if you did, you'd come and say, let's teach me how to play bass." Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because, like, so it's just funny because you're sitting here saying like all this stuff, and I'm going, I was in an aggression metal band, even though Johnny Cash and Bob Marley were my like favorite music. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
I love Pantera, I love Sepultura, I love. I mean, one of my friends is one of the drummers for Slipknot. His
Yeah.
best friend lives next door to me. Like, I'm
Wow.
like,
It's cool.
yes, but it's also perspective. Like, when I'm going to do a workout that I don't particularly want to do, I'm not going to play Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. I'm just not. I'm going to go play that song where it says, F it all, F this world, F everything you stand for. And I'm going to play some Corn, and I'm going to be like, this guy
Oh my God.
was treated like crap as a kid, and he's getting it out. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
agree. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so,
No, yeah.
but it's that understanding of embracing the wholeness, and taking a moral, emotional, spiritual inventory, writing it down without judgment, which is the tough part, because
Yeah.
as I have a thought, I judge it before it comes out of my freaking hand, and I'm like, because I'm like, well, that's going to look stupid, and so I, once again, that's not the reason. Writing it down is the process. You going to a
Yeah.
gym, you're not going to get a 300-pound snatch by just grabbing 300 pounds and figuring out how to try to snatch it. That's not
Right.
how reality works. We are still part of
Right.
reality. Because like I said to him, that people I've heard from meetings, we are spiritual beings having human experiences. And
Yeah.
there's nothing more honest than I can say about that. And for you, I hear you knowing what God has told you. And I hear you feeling what God has told you. And you're like, yes, but I still have these old ideas of myself. And I still have these old, because yes, it would be nice to be financially comfortable, because guess what I think you would do with it? You would make sure your mom was financially comfortable, and your brother was financially comfortable, and all your friends were financially comfortable, and you would steward your money very well. So what
Yeah.
this means is what you're doing is correct, because when you are financially successful and wealthy, which I truly believe in my heart you're going to be, because wealth is not necessarily just having enough, it's knowing you have more than enough. And I know that little lip of acknowledgement is like, yeah, I know, but I would also like to make 100 grand.
You're right though.
But it's true.
If we can trust that, if we can trust that the Lord is going to give us exactly what we need, because he knows exactly what we want, I mean, he knows what we desire deep down. He knows why we, have these addictions or, whatever. It's like, he gave us all this. He knows how, he knows what it's going to take to make us move. He knows what it's going to take to make us leave our gym that we thought was our own, and we thought that was our destiny, to come to another gym. He knows what it takes to make us move. He's so
He's got a long
mysterious.
game.
He's
Yes.
so mysterious.
Well,
So
he's
mysterious.
not. I don't even think it's funny, because I don't think it's mysterious. It's just way smarter than I am.
Yeah.
It's way more thoughtful than I can possibly be, because I come from a broken lens. That's one of my favorite things somebody in AA told me. He goes, our lenses are skewed. Our lens is skewed, and what time and age and perspective and wisdom, all that really is smart to go, clean the lens.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, wait, maybe I should turn it. Maybe I should look at it a different way, because you're 100% right. He knows what we want. And like, I don't know why. Well, I do. And like, for me, I can take it however I want, but I am super grateful that I have worked for 29 years to be in this moment for you and your brother. Like, I can't express to you how proud it's like, you know, and yes, there's people who are like, who might not believe in God or want to find fault with it. I don't care. I know the fact that I thought about the I'm done thing 29 years ago on January 7th as I was walking back into rehab, high as a kite, having my come to Jesus moment, and your brother put it in words. All right, I'm done. And then God immediately, what that reason why I stayed sober. Okay, now we can start, or now we can continue. And I think where you are, to me, once again, I'm also human, and I'm just trying my best. But to me, it seems like you're at that point of, okay, you're not started. You've already started. But we do, like I told him, we do this. You can't see me. I'm gonna do my own thing. And God's like, cool, bro. Like, when you come back, we'll continue. Because you're right, his prayers are way more wise than our questions. And so that's why I'm thinking, since the very first thing you said was playing bass, and that you're the one that, I didn't even know that you're the one that reached out to people and said, hey, you know, you want to jam? You want to kick it about God? You want to, you know, because when you're playing music, even if it's funny, because when people don't understand, even when I was playing aggression metal, it's not like I was angry.
No,
I felt, do you know what I mean? Like it was an auditory feeling. And so like, it's hard to explain. It's like when people say, you know, how do you know God's real? It's all encompassing. I can't explain to you. I don't have to see him sit down next to me because I think my head would explode. But I would also then go, you know, because I do that when I'm having these conversations with you. When you guys automatically just gave me such great, amazing hugs. You guys are great huggers, by the way. And I'm just like, okay, I didn't know that I needed to go to Rochester Hills or wherever the heck Maven is to meet you guys on that day at that time, with my heart open as it was, as available as I was to change. I was here. I had no idea what this was. I just knew apparently it's in at Maven for right now. It wasn't just Maven. It was you, Brad, the whole Maven family makes Maven. And so it's the same reason why I'm like, I think honestly, because part of sales is marketing, part of sales is understanding people and connecting with people. Well, I think it's kind of funny. You said, hey, I feel like I should connect back with the bass, and maybe I'll just reach out to people. Oh, we're playing amazing music. That's funny. And like I told you, brother, how I said, I don't know, maybe you should do podcasts. I didn't know he had done podcasts before. I didn't know he had been a designer. I didn't know that once again, it's the reason I know it's a God thing on my heart to say stuff to you guys is because I don't know your past. So I have no self involved in it other than I truly believe you are understanding what Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, the poverty mindset. The poverty mindset is I need to have more so I can have more. Wealth mindset says, oh, I have plenty. Let me share it. What you said, I need to be a good steward with what I have. It's gratitude, right? Gratitude is not having everything you want. It's wanting what you have.
Yeah.
And that's God. That's the Holy Spirit. That's Jesus's perspective. Jesus didn't walk up and say, oh, you're from Israel. You're from Palestine. I can't talk to you because you might be from Jordan. Oh, wait, you have shoes on. Oh, wait, you're a prostitute. Oh, wait. Dude, he was like, oh, y'all, come to me. You know what? Wash your feet, bitches. What's up now? And people, because the poverty mindset was, wait a minute, I'm in charge. And if you wash and you're a so-called king and you're washing people's feet, people are going to expect me to do that. And I don't want to do that. I'm better than that. Really. Well, there's why that's an immediate response of understanding that you're incorrect, that your perspective is wrong. So your perspective is you're in the middle of transition, and that's okay because it's not like
Yeah.
playing bass
Right.
in an aggression metal band or having your brother take mescaline or shrooms to
Yeah.
change a perspective. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean, all it means is, oh, there's other ways to do something. Oh, what can I do from my past? What can I take from whatever experience happened? What can happen differently with me? How can I be different after Corona? That's interesting. To make me better in the future. What am I doing today to make me better in the future? What am I, and so when you sat there and when you watch this over, I'm going to encourage you to watch this over because you've answered the question I'm asking you currently almost an hour ago, was that you said, well, I felt called to bring the bass up again. Well, there's your answer. Now, do we have a specific outcome of what that's going to look like? And you're going to be back up for Geddy Lee because Neil Peart's passed away, and so they're going to start a new thing? Or
Yeah.
you're gonna, no, I understand that. Like, but the outcome is not up to you, right? Like if you have faith, you understand, literally, you might be put on a path where you're like, yep, this is what I'm going to do. And all of a sudden you go, oh, wait, are we taking a 90-degree turn? Okay. Does that mean everything you did before that 90-degree turn was useless? No, because it's made you who you are. It's brought you to the point where you are. God doesn't love you when you're at your best. God doesn't, but at the same point, he doesn't only love you when you're at your weakest. Do you know what I'm saying? He loves you. He knew exactly how you were going to be. I'm repeating exactly what you told me. He knew exactly how you were going to be and the choices you were going to make. I view it, yes, it's predestiny, but I view it as he knew all the possibility choices I could make. And all he wants to do is just love me. And his answers are way wiser than
your
my
heart.
And he's going to be like, okay. So maybe that's why after how much ever time he put me here, but I wouldn't have been able to be not involved with self with anything I'm telling you if I hadn't gone through 26 months of long-term inpatient rehab and 6 months aftercare, doing all the stuff I had to do to learn social work and to study psychology and to study sociology and to study addiction counseling and to then be a coach and then be an Olympic weightlifting coach and then, doubt myself for years that I had anything good to, say because I was never an elite athlete or what, all this stuff. And it's like everything I went through as a whole has gotten me to this point. One of my favorite things is that I recently realized Matt Fraser's tattoo is the Serenity Prayer.
Yeah, I don't know. He's an interesting guy. I think he I didn't actually, I had no idea that that's what it was. But I do know, like, he does come from a place of obviously, like, enduring champions. His parents were champions, and, he definitely has that champion mindset. Like, he's just going to go after it, and he's going to work harder than anybody else or as hard as he can. And has such a great supporting crew as well. There's some things about Matt that I admire. There's some things that I'm like, like, does he even believe in God? Like, I don't know, but I just want to point, I wanted to bring something up just before we, kind of wrap everything up, but something that's kind of been on my heart that I feel like you and, many others may not even know about this, but something about, I think, just wanted to go back to, like, joining a gym for the very first time, or even just like going to a new gym for the very first time. Like I was a part of Oakland County CrossFit before I joined Maven. So I not only started there in 2009, 2010, when CrossFit was like starting to be a thing. They were one of the first gyms. Became great friends with the owners there and things of that nature, but ended up having to break it off with them just because I felt that I wasn't going down the right path. I wasn't a believer or like a follower or anything or pursuing any of my faith then. This is like right around the time after graduating college, and I was working 2 jobs to try to figure things out. but I was
That's a
getting
funny
called to go
statement, by the
somewhere.
way.
I was getting called somewhere else again. Like this was my calling to leave there and go somewhere else. And I explored some options and ended up following head over heels for the Maven community. In a particular way, obviously, I was more driven by competition and furthering myself as getting to the fittest possible human ability. But even within that, it's like I still said things like I want to reach this new level. I want to be better than I ever was. Like, how am I going to do that with, like you said, like working down here below the line? I'm never going to achieve anything up here.
Correct.
So like surrounding myself by the best is going to allow me to train with the best. So I will develop a consistency and build trust with those people to only give me confidence to go forward. But I just wanted to say, like, in all that, even the first couple of weeks coming to Maven, like my first day was I met Mel, Brad's wife, and nicest lady. She still is amazing. And I just it was a moment that wasn't even with Brad, but I just felt like wow, this couldn't be more like where I need to be right now. That was a sign, you know. And then like the next day, I think I came in and lifted with Brad. Like I wanted to show him like what I could do, not to like boost my ego or anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this is where I am. I wanted to show you where I'm at, so that like in whatever, however long, you know, this comes in. Like even when I first started, I was like kind of hesitant to even like pursue CrossFit. I was more like, I just want to pursue weightlifting because I don't want anything to do with CrossFit. Right around this time too, I lost my grandfather.
Oh.
So just a very tough, you know, place in my life, like where I didn't have God, I didn't have this belief that there was like a bigger purpose. But after losing my grandfather and switching gyms and all these things happening, moral of this story is that, you know, it was my maintenance in the consistency of going to this place and showing my work ethic and things of that nature that allowed me to build trust or establish trust in someone like Brad. Because he didn't know who I was. He didn't know my background. He didn't know what I did for the past 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, or even a year. But just being able to like completely surrender, hey, like my past is my past, but right now I'm going to do everything in my power going forward to try to earn your trust. And it's not just to be the best in here. It's just to be consistent in here. Now, consistency gives us some things, you know, accomplishment gives us some things, but they're very different. Consistency gives us grace and peace when we're doing it for the right reasons in our heart. But when we're doing something just for our own good and for our own satisfaction, that's going to give us temporary happiness and temporary likes of others and things like that. So I think the consistency part can allow you to establish the trust that we're all yearning for.
Oh, 100%.
We want trust in other people. We want trust in our Heavenly Father. We want trust in ourselves. And there's so much other things that come with that trust being built. But that takes time. Like time is something that, you know,
people can give 5 minutes ago.
People can give 1 hour a week to church and expect, you know, something above that line where it's like, you know, if I can't spend more than 10 minutes a day with the thoughts about why God loves me so much, then like I don't really know what love is. Then, you know, so there's really a lot of truth in what you just said, and I know I'm like answering my own questions and all this too, but I know I'm at a place in my life where I'm kind of being revealed all those things that have already been blessings in my life, that already have been like, you remember when I did this for you? You remember when I did this for you and I showed you this? It's like I'm like, you know, trying to just, you know, take it in and like I'm someone like I get fearful of making the same mistake more than 3 times, you know, or more than once even is too much for me. Like if I'm doing the dishes the wrong way 5 times in a row, like it's the 6th time that I got yelled at. So like I need to change something, but like it took a while for me to realize that something was kind of the wrong way, and now you need to understand it like this is what it was meant to show you. Again, that lens thing that we talked about. So I'm just very grateful that, I think that the gift of patience and things that we all have been given. We've been given time, we've been given talent, and we've also been given things that we treasure. And again, I said things that we treasure. I know this sounds probably absurd, but like even things as far as people go.
Don't qualify it before you say it.
Yeah.
Don't prejudge. Thank you.
I treasure my base. I treasure my car. I treasure my kids. I treasure my dog. I know these are people, and I know these are things, but I think the things that we can actually give to God are the hardest things to give, and that's the surrender that I'm still working on. I know how to give time to Him. I know how to give my talents to Him, but the thing that's really, really difficult is what you treasure. Can you give that to God? Can you give that to Him and trust Him in that? Because He's going to reveal something in your life that is profound, because He gave us all this stuff anyway. He gave us all this time. He gave us all these things that we treasure, and He gave us these talents that we need to somehow find a passion within to use them, and share them. But sometimes it starts with one thing. Sometimes it starts with just giving a little bit of time to then move to that next step and give your talent. So I think this, I honestly think that there is something about this talent that, I feel like has kind of been under the radar a little bit, but I know it's not like super, super, super profound to some people, but I definitely take it for what it is. And I don't like to boast anything about myself, in this particular way. I just really enjoy something that, I feel playing it now is like, I'm doing something for not only does it make me feel good, but it makes me feel good that, like, I'm praising the Lord doing this. I'm super grateful that I have the ability to have good hand-eye coordination and learn how to be gracious with an instrument and go through those things. It's definitely a blessing, and I can't forget those things that I have been blessed with, and I just think that it's definitely a journey of finding how I can serve others is definitely been one of those things that I've been kind of still searching for within myself. And so many great people like yourself have been great people that have admired, what's kind of going on, and definitely have helped me and continue to help and give me direction, which we all need. And I admire that. So I appreciate everything that you have kind of opened up about, and even going forward with everything. So yeah, it's a lot.
Well, I very much appreciate you taking the time to let me get to know you. Just because it's being available to let people know, like the raw you, the you that you really are, not just that you want people to see. It is that, well, how are they going to accept me? Are they going to, but when you do it faith-based up here, it's you go farther up here, and then it is weird because you're going, do you remember when I used to like really worry about getting likes and like do you remember when I really was worried, like when people would be like, I can't believe you're doing that, and I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. But that's what, and that's living on the other side of our limitations, which is fulfillment, which is where God is, which is God's promises. It's God did not promise summer without rain. But
you're absolutely right. I also want to say one last thing. I know I'm hogging the mic on you, Jeff, but
it's my conversation with you.
It's just another thing that's been on my heart too. Just kind of based off where you went with Brad too, in the conversation about um, you know, God is really with us always, man. And like, whether we're pursuing him or not, dude, like there's been, throughout the years of training, man, like I thought that God wasn't with me, or, I wasn't a strong believer in Christ, or I wasn't pursuing my faith, but like he was with me, he was showing me stuff, even though I didn't even care. It's this craziest thought to think that like someone is with you while you're suffering in a workout, but like thinking that thought or having the idea of like, you know what, my dad's not here right now, but I'm envisioning him with me in this workout, or my brother's not here right now, he's doing other things, I envision him here right now in this workout. Or same thing with God. It's like he might not have to stand right next to you. He might be just in your heart, but he's with you. And like that whole concept to me just kind of like shook my life up, that someone is always watching you, whether it's good or bad, whether it's in the dark or the light. I don't have to be up in the light for someone to see that I'm faithful. Like they could see me in my darkest dark. They could see me on drugs, and I'm talking about still seeing God. Like, I just think it's wild to me that people can hear Brad and be like, oh, he was on drugs, I should go do drugs to see God. Or he was on drugs, there must have been no positive from that drug experience. Well, guess what, man? He experienced them, with it or not, whether drugs are bad or good in society or not. So take it for what it's worth.
And now it's brought him to where he is. Exactly.
So like he's trying to get to you no matter who you are, where you're at, and understand that like when you start pursuing him, he's going to start revealing things that you already knew and already happened to you. Sometimes it's stuff that you just couldn't see because of that lens was crooked, or too concave or whatever. But there's something about when you take that first step into following your Heavenly Father. I think he reveals some things to you that you almost already knew. You're getting downloads. You're getting, you don't even need to read the Bible. You don't even need to read it. He's just going to download all those things that have happened in your life because you're still here right now, and I'm still here right now. There's got to be something. There's got to be a reason that God wants me here right now and to continue on. He has a purpose for me. He has something for me that's going to be his work, his glory. So I gotta come to peace with my past, but understand that like he's using me. The more I can develop a consistency in my righteousness and just being available for people. I think he's I want to be that person that raises my hands like, hey, I want to be the person you can use me, and that's kind of where I get the most peace is being sufficient with my own path and my own faith and trust in him, because some things are out of our hands. This virus to me it's not in my hands. Yes, there's things we can do and to be aware and to be knowledgeable, but I think we just need to live in a posture of trust, and also, do things that give us hope, do things that give us, wisdom. And I think that just the daily practice, man, has been something that's really kind of recentered myself and recentered my heart. Maven's been always a place where I felt at home with, and it's definitely been a transition of why do I do this? Why am I consistently coming here? Why is this place somewhere where I keep getting put back into, even if I am getting drawn away from it? Like, at the time when I was working that job, like I was only able to work out once a week on Sunday, and just saw myself like slowly live for those Sundays. But like, why does it have to be only once a week that I get this pleasure of doing something better for my body and myself and my spirit? Like, working out is good for my spirit, not just my physical, but like now I can carry more air in my lungs. Now I can talk more. Like, it's just like crazy. But yeah, like I've never not felt the push and the salt of the world to, you know, to be put in a place. And I think he's always just redirecting us when we're about to miss that turn that he wants us to make a turn. He's not going to let us miss that turn. He's going to move us into a place maybe of fear, or maybe that we're scared, or maybe is uncomfortable, but like he's not going to let you miss that turn, you know. And I think that's something that was very profound. I'll never forget in my life, is just sometimes you do have to let everything go that you think is right, you know. And that really kind of shook me up this past year, but I feel so much stronger in my heart for it. And I couldn't be more excited to, you know, see what the things come from that. So
Well, like I said, I'm gonna end recording. Don't get off right away, but I really appreciate you. Like, that's mic drop right there.
appreciate
So
you too.
that's fantastic. Um,